the thing that tipped me over the little edge on Monday is I remembered, because you know how the one half of your brain will remember or think of something, and then the other half of your brain is thinking something, but the two things don't really connect and intersect, and then all of a sudden when they do, it's like, hello, my name is Michelle, and this is Michelle's Fiber Studio Podcast. Today is Wednesday, November 26th, and this is episode number 71. Hello, if this is your first time joining me, welcome, and if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you returning week after week, or whenever I post a podcast, mostly week after week. It is a cloudy day, although it is fairly mild. I haven't stepped outside, but when I look at the temperature, it's 48 degrees. So for the end of November, that is fairly mild. It is the day before Thanksgiving, so it's actually, it's noon, 12:15. Wow, it got late. I thought it was earlier than it was. 12:15 in the afternoon. I am off from school today, so I decided to podcast now and get this up before the festivities commence. I have actually a fair amount. This is probably going to be a little bit longer of an episode, certainly longer than what I've been posting in the recent past. I have project updates, I have a new project, and I am going to talk all things Advent and my plans for this Advent season. Before I do, however, let's talk about what I am wearing. I have on my Faro sweater. This is a pattern by Tara-Lynn Morrison. I knit this last March in about 2.5 weeks. I cast it on March 9th and I finished it on March 26th. I had a hankering to do a bulky weight sweater, and I picked up this yarn on the spa weekend from what I consider my local yarn shop. It's about half an hour away, but it's the closest one to me. And it is Jody Long Adiamo, just in the colorway blue. You know what? I didn't look up, or I didn't make a note of what the fiber content is on that. Let me see if I can find that really quickly. I used not quite 3 skeins. As I recall, I bought 2 skeins, and then I realized that I was going to need a third one, and so I had to run back and pick up a third skein, which they fortunately did. It is an 85-15 wool alpaca blend. It's a super bulky yarn. There's 175 yards and 200 gram skeins. So I used, I have 53 yards left, so I think it was 2.7 skeins, so not quite 3 skeins. And I love it. It's super cozy. I'm actually getting a little warm. I put it on specifically for the podcast. I've had it on most of the morning as I was kind of getting ready, and when I'm done, it's coming off because I'm getting a little bit warm. It's better for the dead of winter for a sweater. But at any rate, that is how things look from here. So let's jump right into my project bag and take a look. So the bulk of my knitting time has been spent on my one project, Bahama Advent Wrap. I pretty much exclusively have been working on that. I do have a couple of other smallish updates for a couple of other projects, but that's the bulk of it. I've actually shifted it to my float tote that I knit last spring. So let's pull this out. The Bahama Advent Wrap is by Toni Lipsey. It is a Tunisian crocheted project. I am knitting it using my Beauty and the Beast Advent by Fangirl Fibers from last Christmas. And I have really been moving along and pushing. Again, this has been the exclusive project for me. All right, there we go. Took me a minute to get to. So here is my marker from last week. And last week being, I podcast on a Monday, so it has been 9 days. And so look, I got all of that done. I don't know how many colors that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors maybe. I'm into my 6th color, but I only have 3 left. I am super, super excited. Those are my last 3. I've got this brown one that is going to be next, followed by the 2 blues. I have every intention of finishing this by the end of the weekend, which the 30th is on Sunday. That was kind of my stretch goal, and I am confident that I will be able to complete that. And frankly, I am ready. I have been really, really enjoying this, and it was interesting because, fighting with it, there we go. I really, truly have been enjoying it, and it's been what I've wanted to work on, which has worked out well because that's also what I really wanted to finish, because I cast it on or put it on the hook. What do you call it when you start hooked it on? I don't know. I began the project on May 5th. So it has been a slow burn all summer long. I've picked it up here and there. Would do like one. I did my initial push. I did probably 4 or 5 colors pretty quickly. And then it was like 1 color, 1 color, 1 color. And I didn't get very far very fast. And then I picked it up in earnest in, I guess, the beginning of November, after I finished my gnomes. And there was something else that I finished. My blanket. Oh, my northeasterly blanket. And then I shifted gears. And I have just been really plugging away. And it truly has been what I've wanted to work on. It's rhythmic. I've really got a rhythm going with it. But last night I sat down and because I'm also doing, let me pull this out. Where did I stick it? My socks that I'm also doing. Let me show you those. So, or one of them. You don't need to see them both, but the socks are here. I don't remember where I was at in the socks. I have one more color to add, but I have been keeping up with these. But last night I had 4 colors that I needed to add into the socks. So I pulled the socks out and I did 3 of the colors, 3 of the 4 colors. And then this morning, and I'll show you that project later, but I started another pair of socks. And then I pulled this out while I was waiting. My son was doing some homework, college, he's home for college break, and he was doing some homework over at the table, so I was kind of biding my time, I guess. I knew he was getting ready to leave and go run some errands and do some things. And so I pulled out my Bahama Advent Wrap, and I am like, I don't feel like doing this anymore. Like, I've got the knitting bug back. So I will push through, I will get her done. But I am kind of ready to move on too. So that, I don't think there's anything else I need to tell you about this project, but next week when I podcast, look for it in my blocking board section. Actually, it'd be really great if I could complete this. Today's Wednesday. If I could complete it by Saturday, then I could actually get it all blocked and everything before I will probably podcast on Monday. So it would be really great if I could have it even blocked by then. So. All right, that is this project and the socks. I'm really liking the socks, I have to say. Of course, with the wrap, I have been blending and fading my colors in and out, but with the socks, I'm literally just knitting them one on top of the other, and so it's giving it a slightly different fade, and I'm really enjoying and appreciating that as well. So, all right, project number 3, I guess, that I will talk about is my Musselburgh hat. This is, oh, I didn't put down the number. It's either 7 or 8. I don't remember now. I'll look it up later and add it to my notes for next time, but I actually got a decent amount done. We went to a show at the local high school on Friday, so I brought it to Bible study, and nope, that wouldn't be it. That would be it. So I got, what is that, a little over an inch? So I worked on it in Bible study. I worked on it in I think mostly in the first half of the show, and then I was just so captivated that I let it sit for the whole second half. So I probably didn't get as much done on it as I could have, but it's a great little travel project. No real urgency on this one. The yarn is one of my Hypnotic Yarn Yarnables yarns. And it was is it October or November? My November yarn. Wild Current is the colorway. Must be my November yarn. I think it is my November yarn. Yeah, November 2025. And I love the colors. I love how it's coming out. I think it's gonna be great. I wanted a second Musselburgh for myself anyway, because the first one I like to leave at school so that I have a nice warm hat for when I have to do dismissal duty. And so this one is, yeah, coming. You know, it'll get worked on here and there. At some point I will get sick of toting it around and there will be a big push to get it done, and that is probably not gonna happen until the beginning of the year. So that's where that one's at. I have it in my little LL Bean tote bag, mini tote. I got this last Christmas. We were shopping at LL Bean. I live, again, 30 minutes from the flagship store, which I realize is a super big blessing, kind of cool. I think here in Maine, sometimes we don't always fully appreciate how big of a deal that is. But I saw these at the checkout. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is super cute. It would be a perfect little project bag, sock bag. It's worked great. I used it a lot last winter. I brought it with me when we went to New York, and I had some of my mini skeins from my Advent, so I could put multiple mini skeins in here. So it's a good little project bag. Okay, and the last project I just cast on today, and I am super excited. It is another pair of socks. As most of you probably know, the second half of the Wicked movie came out, part 2 came out last weekend, I believe, and I'm really hoping to go and see it soon, maybe even this weekend. And last spring or late winter, I ordered from Little Wolf Knits. She had a Wicked collection, and I ordered a skein of yarn and set it aside, and has been waiting very patiently on my bookcase for this movie so that I can be knitting a pair of socks during the movie. So here, I'm gonna draw this out a little bit. So Little Wolf Knits, there is the tag. It is on her Sunfish base, which is a 75/25 superwash merino nylon. The color is Two Best Friends. And I don't think I often point this out. You can see, I hope I'm showing you the correct angle. In the corner there, I have the weight. So with all of my hand-dyed yarns, I like to weigh the skein before I begin, because there's always a little variance in exactly how big the skeins are. And I want to know exactly how much yarn I started with, so when I'm done and I have my leftovers, I know exactly how much yarn the project took, but it's more about how much yarn the project took, because I guess in weighing it, I will know how much I have left, but as far as weight goes. But at any rate, so that's what I do. I just weigh it and then I put a little note on the tag. So sometimes you probably have seen those numbers floating around on my tags, as I've shown you. So here I wound the yarn up last night. There it is. Look how fun those colors are. Of course, the green is for Elphaba, pink is for Glinda. And then this morning I got the cuff cast on, so it is all ready to go. I have my little Glinda charm that is from my Woolen Women's Fibers box for, I guess it's the November box, because I got it at the end of October. I always get confused as, like, I'm pretty sure it's the November box, but. And then this is the project bag that came with that Woolen Women's Fibers box, and I am keeping that project in this bag. So I am ready to go to the movies and knit on my sock while I watch it. Hopefully this weekend we will get that done. My next section is Advent plans. You should have seen a new card that I just made to introduce it. So I thought I would talk all things Advent, at least as it relates to the Michelle's Fiber Studio world. Let's start with the yarn Advents that I will open up. I think I'll start with the big one here. So the first one that I ordered, and I ordered it this summer, is I ordered again from Fangirl Fibers, her Advent. I'll take that out of there. I have it sorted here. I think I'm gonna keep it in the box. So each of these is in a little pouch, little silver pouch. It's got the day on it. It has a little mermaid, variegated. But these little pouches are wicked slippery. I tried like 3 different baskets and I could not get them to stand up to save my life. So I ended up going back into the box and just kind of organizing them within the box. I do have a full skein. So there's 24 20-gram minis. It's an 80-20 superwash merino nylon. I have a full skein for Christmas Day. I'm trying to do this without disrupting what I have already done. I think I messed it up. All right, and then there were a few little extras, and I don't remember if she wrapped her extras up last year or not, but there is a fun little sticker, Part of Your World. Of course, is one of the songs. There's these really, really cute little progress keepers. Oh, let me see if I can't separate them out. So we've got a shell and a mermaid's tail, and you've got a crab and a fish. And then there is a little pin. Let's open up the bag so we can see it really good. I probably should have done a spoiler alert warning. I'm sorry, I'm a little late in the uptake there. The human world, it's a mess. Oh, I agree with that statement. That is super cute. And then there's a little tote bag that also came in here. So it's Gizmos. I'm trying to read this backwards. Gizmos, Who's Its, What's Its, Snarfle Blasts, and Dingle Hoppers. There we go. So fun, super fun, cute little project bag. When I ordered it, I was very smart this year. And if you have never ordered, oh, and there's, oh no, that's the other one. If you have never ordered an Advent, and when I have my color card, I'm not gonna show it too much because I don't want to spoil that for anybody, but there was a color card so that I know the name of each day, what the color name for the yarn for each day. I distracted myself. Oh, yes. I was really smart this year, and the last 2 years, I guess, right? This is the 3rd year that I've gotten an Advent. Yes. I neglected to capture the information about said Advent when it was purchased in the summertime. And then when the yarn finally arrived in November and I was trying to create a Ravelry page for it, I had no information as to what the yarn content was, like specifically how many yards were in each mini skein. Those were the biggest things that I wanted to make sure that I kept track of. And so this year, when I purchased my Advent, I was very smart and I took a screenshot of the listing page on the website. So little note to yourself, if you are going to buy Advents, I would highly, highly recommend that so that you have that information to refer back to when the Advents come out. So I actually had 2 choices in the Fangirl Fibers Advent this year. She offered 2 choices with the Little Mermaid. I think she actually has a couple of different ones, but Little Mermaid is kind of, I guess, the primary one. So you could have gotten a variegated box or a tonal box. You actually could have gotten a combination, and so you would have gotten both. The variegated box, the theme is characters, scenes, and phrases, and that's the one that I got because I wanted more variegated yarn. That's the yarn I'm hoping. The yarns primarily that are in my Bahama Advent are variegated, speckled and multicolored. There's a few tonals within that, but I tend to like the variegated colors as opposed to all tonals. The tonal box, the theme for that one was Who's Its and What's Its Galore, which was objects, things, and places. And I think I would have preferred the theme as far as the names of the yarn more in, you know, the Who's Its and What's Its. But I wanted the variegated colors. So obviously that was more important to me, what the yarn actually looks like and not so much what it's called. So that is what I went with. So characters, scenes, and phrases are what these are based off of in The Little Mermaid. And it is perfect, and I'll talk a little bit more about this in the day-to-day section, but our local high school just did a performance of Little Mermaid, and my husband and I went and saw that on Friday. So I am fully prepped for opening my Advent and have that freshly and firmly in my mind. So that is Advent number 1. Advent number 2, I kind of had a hankering for a second Advent. Last year, the very first year I did one Advent, and that was fun. Last year, I had pre-ordered the Fangirl Fibers, and then I ended up with a second Advent that I got last minute from Brazos Fiberworks. It was like she had a few leftovers, and that was my Grinch Advent. And I really had fun with opening 2 different Advents. And so I hadn't yet gotten a second Advent. I had tried to snag one from Nitty McPurley, I believe, is the dyer. And she had one that was called For God So Loved the World. And it was all about God's creation. And I was really, really hoping to snag one of those when she released some extras. I didn't see her initial listings. I only saw it after they'd already sold out. And then I happened to get an email from her that she was going to be listing some extras, and they sold out uber fast. Like, I was on the website, and before I could complete the purchase, they were gone. So I am definitely going to watch her next year and see if I can get one of hers, because I think a Bible themed one would be really, really fun. And they were relatively affordable. They were like $189 for her for 24 colors. So I thought I'm going to watch that one next year. But at any rate, I had a hankering for a second Advent. And so Emma's Yarns does Smallidays, and she takes her smalls, which are her, what she calls her mini skeins. And I don't know how many different years she has been doing these, but she has one. And I happened to see that a yarn shop in Portland, which is 40 to 45 minutes away from me, had them in stock and has carried Emma's Yarns. And I do love Emma's Yarns. They are based out of Florida. I have a sweater's quantity of yarn that I picked up when I was in Florida myself, visiting friends last winter. I have a single skein that I had gotten from that shop in Portland. Knitwit Yarns is the shop, by the way. And then I also, this past Fiber Frolic, when we stopped at the yarn shop in Waterville, I had gotten a kit that was Emma's Yarns, and she also had a whole bunch of Emma's Yarns at that shop in Waterville. So I love her color sense, and so I'm pretty confident, even though I've not ever gotten one of her Advents, then I'm going to be pretty happy with this one. So anyway, Knitwit had a few, so I saw that they were listed, and I was kind of hemming and hawing, and this was like a Monday, and I'm like, well, I could order it, and they're local to me, and it would ship for free because it's over $100, but would it get here in time? And it's Thanksgiving week, so the mail is gonna be messed up, and again, it's Thanksgiving week. I don't know if I wanna drive down to Portland. And then all of a sudden, the thing that tipped me over the little edge on Monday is I remembered, because you know how the one half of your brain will remember or think of something, and then the other half of your brain is thinking something, but the two things don't really connect and intersect, and then all of a sudden when they do, it's like poof. So anyway, I remembered my husband works in Portland, about maybe 10 minutes from that yarn shop, and it was all over. So I texted him, and I'm like, so if I buy something, would you pick it up for me? And so he, sweet man that he is, he did, and he picked it up that day and brought it home for me. So I have the 2025 Smallidays Advent from Emma's Yarns. The theme is Welcome to the Jungle. And not gonna show you that because there's a QR code for a pattern, but this is how hers is all laid out. There was no extra skein in this one, which is fine. There's a little Smallidays sticker, and there is a little lip balm, little bee balm, there we go. And then each of hers are wrapped up with the number on them. So I'm super excited for this one. It is 24 20-gram minis in her practically perfect sock, which is her fingering weight. It is an 80/20 superwash merino nylon. So that will be my second advent. My third advent, and I'm calling it an advent even though it's not like yarn per se, is going to be my Woolens and Nosh sock advent. So here is the little kit. She does such a great job. Michelle is the owner of Woolens and Nosh. This is the third year that I am doing her advent, and I love how she does it. It is so much fun. So I have this little tote bag. I have 2 yarns that are hanging out here, ready for me to begin, and then there is a coordinating mini skein in those colors. And the way that you do it is a stripe a day that you knit for 24 days. And you will knit, so I will cast on my cuff in this little mini skein. And then on day 1, I will join my yarn and I will pull it out, and it's all pre-wound, pre-caked, and I will pull, and I'm not gonna pull anymore because I don't want to spoil myself, but I will get to my first color and I will join it, and then I will knit, and it's like 2 or 3, for my size socks, it's like 2.5 rounds or so I make it. And when I get back to this brown, I stop. And then on day 2, I will knit, it's 1 stripe of the brown, and then I will knit my second color, and so on. And then I will be doing the heels, toes, and cuffs in this 20-gram mini skein. So I brought down to show you, these are the last 2 years, the socks that I had done. This was the first year, so this one started with gray, so my cuff was in the gray, and then you have your colors in there. Last year, Michelle tried something a little bit different and tried to make the neutral stripes, oh my gosh, words today, neutral stripes a little bit wider. And so I only used my mini skein for the cuff, and then I ended up carrying all the way through because I didn't want the socks to be super long, and I wanted to make sure I got all 24 of my colors in. My understanding is, and these are definitely longer, like if even with that, they came out like it's a whole, they're really long. Even with that, yeah. So my understanding is she has gone back to kind of the way that it was the first year that I did it, where it is a single neutral color stripe. I think the other thing that she did last year is just to kind of make it simpler for herself, is she didn't have them all starting in the same place, and people found that really stressful because they didn't feel like they could share because they didn't want to spoil the colors for other people who might have their striping be in a different sequence. So now we are all starting with the same color at the same spot, and it is just the single stripe in between. So I do need to get this wound up. I probably just will wind it into a little ball, and sometime in the next 4 days I will knit my cuffs, and so the cuffs are done and it's ready to go. I like to knit both of my socks. I have 2 sets. I do, as you know, my socks on 2 circulars. So I have 4 circular needles, 2 for each sock, and I like to have both socks going at the same time, just like I'm doing with my Beauty and the Beast socks. And I will knit the day stripe and knit the day stripe and knit the day stripe and knit the day stripe. So by Christmas Day, I will have a completed pair of socks. And it takes me about 10 minutes to do each stripe, or historically it's been that. So it's like 20 minutes a day's worth of knitting, and it's just so delicious. It's just a perfect amount of little bit of knitting to kind of look forward to every day. And it's easy to keep up with because it's pretty much, no matter how hectic my day is, I can find 20 minutes to squeeze in for myself, which is actually really important because Christmas, the whole, Christmas season can get really busy. I think both of the years there might have been 1 or maybe 2 days where I either didn't do a stripe at all, or I only got one of the socks done, and it's also super easy to catch up because, again, at the most, if I skipped a day or missed a day, that would be like 40 minutes. So hopefully the next day I can take a little extra time, but I haven't found that to be necessary no matter how busy I am within the day. It also came with this fun little sticker, which is her theme, which is the Pacific Northwest. So kind of woodsy, earthy. I'm really curious to see what the colors are. Michelle, I was just watching a podcast she did last spring, just before the pre-orders launched. And she specifically does not choose Christmas colors because that can be kind of a limiting palette, and she likes to keep it a little bit more random. I think I heard that the socks, the theme for this one was light and dark, and so it started with light and went into the, well, in my case, I started with the dark and went into the light, and that this one was the color wheel, and so it has to do with the colors on the color wheel and their opposites, I do believe, or something along those lines. So anyway, so those are my Advent socks. I've also been toying around with pattern ideas, and Nitty Natty released last week or 2 weeks, a week and a half ago, I guess, a video with Advent patterns. And one of the patterns caught my eye. It is the Rainbow Bouquet shawl by Stephanie Lotven. It's a $7 pattern. I will make sure, if you haven't already seen it, a picture. And I really, really am captivated by this pattern. I am not sure, so it would include the 24 minis, and you would need a full skein of something to do in between. I probably won't start it until January, if I do, because I'm just not sure which one I would want to do it with. I kind of want to see my Advents. I do have a full skein in the Little Mermaid set, but I don't know if that is going to end up being a big enough contrast between all of the yarns, in which case I could use my Emma's Yarns yarn and then just supplement with a contrasting skein that will contrast. But then again, in that case, again, I need to see like all of the colors so that I can make sure that that skein contrasts fully. But I really, really like that pattern. So I'm thinking that one of these two Advents will be probably that shawl. And then I've really been enjoying making blankets, which is crazy because I never ever thought I would knit or crochet blankets with wool. But I really have been enjoying that. So I might do a blanket with the other one. I really haven't decided. I will keep poking around and see what kind of pops, but I haven't. So both of these, my plan is to just open and enjoy, and then after Christmas, kind of make some decisions around what they will become. The last thing in regards to Advent that I want to talk about is Vlogmas. So I did do Vlogmas last year. I recorded every other day, and I really haven't fully decided what I want to do this year, and I realize it is November 26th, and so Vlogmas starts in 5 days. I know that I don't want to commit to every day. I also don't think I don't want to do anything at all. I did enjoy doing Vlogmas, and I like having an avenue to kind of show off my Advents as I open them each day and show off the sock as I'm knitting it. But I'm not really sure what that's going to look like. So stay tuned, I guess. I will have some, probably in all likelihood, some Vlogmases, and I don't know. I don't know if I will do it every 2 days, every 4 days, every once a week. I just really don't know. I don't want to put pressure on myself. It's been a pretty hectic fall, and I just need this to be low key. So we'll see where it lands, but I did enjoy kind of doing that daily video, or taking video every day. Yeah, I'm just gonna play it by ear, see where it lands. So I will probably last year I think I called them episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, and that worked out really well because then it's not tied to a certain days. So, all right, I think that pretty effectively wraps up my Advent yarn plans and conversations. So let's move to the next section. One thing I realized I forgot to add that I wanted to mention in regards to my Emma's Yarns Advent. I did check the Emma's Yarns website and she is sold out. However, as of right this minute, again, Wednesday, November 26th, my yarn shop where I purchased it, Knitwit Yarns in Portland, Maine, has 2 left. So you can still snag that. I will include the link to Knitwit Yarns in my show notes down below. Alright, this week's day to day. Let's see, I recorded on Monday last week. Tuesday, Wednesday were pretty boring. Thursday, kind of my highlight on Thursday, I was asked to go to one of the 6 elementary schools and present a lesson on internet safety. There was some behavior that was kind of troubling. Kids kind of posting things, not understanding kind of the how dangerous it could be. And so I was asked, and the school that I went to currently, they don't have a school counselor, and it's one of our smaller schools, and they have been trying to fill the position and have been unable to fill it. And so as kind of significant needs have arisen, one of us other counselors in the district has gone down. So I was kind of the natural choice, and it was so much fun. I downloaded a presentation from NetSmarts, which if you have kids in your life, that's a fantastic website to go to. They have lots and lots of resources. There was a whole presentation that I was able to, really, I riffed off it because once I got going, yeah, I was just kind of going off the cuff, and I realized after about half an hour I hadn't even gotten halfway through all the slides, although I was basically hitting all of the content as I was kind of quote unquote rambling. So, oh, hold on a second. Okay, sorry about that. My husband just got home. They let him out early. Fortunately, I heard his car does the backup beeping sound, and I heard that before the dogs caught on that he was in the driveway, and so therefore I was able to stop a little more gracefully before they went wackadoodle. So at any rate, where was I? I was talking about my visit to the elementary school, and I hopefully was not in the middle of a train of thought because I don't remember the exact train of thought, but it was super fun. I realized I actually miss connecting with kids in that way. Last year I did do classroom lessons, you might recall, for my 7th and 8th graders. This year I have not even, I still have the same lessons, and that was my intention, was to repeat the lessons each year, and I have not remotely been able to think about it. It has just been too wild and crazy this school year. Hopefully in the first of the year I'll be able to get into those classrooms, but it was a lot of fun, and I was able to really just totally riff, like I said, on that presentation that I had downloaded. And I think it'll be really interesting to see next school year if I have a slightly different relationship with this group of 6th graders, or they will be 7th graders at that year. We always go in the spring, myself, my principal and the assistant principal, and we do a PowerPoint presentation to them at that point, tell them all about the middle school and really introduce yourselves, and we found that has made a big difference. But I'm just really curious if having had a little bit more one-on-one time with me in a teaching role, if that's going to affect anything. And they were cute. They were very attentive. They were really great about responding if I threw questions out at them. I got lots and lots of engagement from them. But at the very end, I asked if there were any last questions, and one of them popped a question about the middle school. So I'm like, okay, it is whatever time, you have 5 minutes, and I will answer as many questions as I can about the middle school in 5 minutes. And so popcorn questions, and I just talked about the middle school and kind of gave them a little lay of the land ahead of time. So, but it was super fun. So that was on my Thursday. Friday night, my husband and I finally had an opportunity to go out for dinner. Wednesday actually had been our anniversary, our 31st wedding anniversary. And so we went out to Margarita's, a local Mexican restaurant. I don't think it's national. I think it's just a local chain. And had dinner, and from there we went over to the high school and watched the Little Mermaid presentation. And my gosh, those kids are so freaking talented. They did just a phenomenal job. One of the kids who was the crab, I can't remember the crab's name, but at any rate, I know him. I know most of probably 3/4 of the cast I know at this point, because I think the seniors are the only class that I really don't know super well because of my years in guidance and whatnot. Anyway, I know most of the cast at this point, but that particular character, the crab, I do know personally. He has done Odyssey of the Mind and has just been really very subdued, very quiet, and he came out on stage and my jaw literally dropped because it was not the same kid. And the confidence and the personality that he put into that role was just so amazing. And I told him that afterwards and told his mom, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did not think that you were the same kid. Like, absolutely phenomenal. Ursula was, my gosh, I cannot wait to see what that child does, or young person. This individual is a senior, so it'll be really fun to see where she goes. But the pipes on her, and again, it was just the whole thing. It was so good. And I am fully ready now to open my Advent because I have that Little Mermaid in my head. Saturday morning, we had an Odyssey of the Mind coaches training, so I spent the morning down in Portland we had, I think, 30-ish coaches, and we spent 3 hours. It's kind of the official kickoff. Well, we did a virtual open house back in October, but this event, to my mind, is really kind of that first of the events where we meet with the coaches. I would say well over half of them were first-time coaches. So it was really great to kind of get them the lay of the land and connect with them. And I think it's just going to be a phenomenal season. So that was super fun. Sunday, got home from church, ran out and did groceries and came back and finally had an opportunity to rest. I had tweaked my back. We had gotten a new mattress last week and it was really hard. We ended up ordering a mattress pad, which has made it a world of difference. But Saturday morning when I woke up, it's like when you got a crick in your neck and you can't turn. Well, I had that in my lower back, like between my shoulder blades, and it was extremely painful. I could really hardly move. And by the end of the day, I was just in so much pain that I was pretty exhausted. So Sunday was great to rest. We took naps, etc. And then Monday and Tuesday, honestly, I don't think there are any two worse days of the school year than the Monday and Tuesday, the week of Thanksgiving. They just stink because the kids are wound up, the staff doesn't feel like being there. It's hard to do any meaningful lessons. Like, it's just time filler and nobody wants to be there. But we made the best of it. And we got through, and here we are. So I'm really, really looking forward to 5 days, 4.5 now, because it's 1 o'clock on Wednesday. But I'm looking forward to a break and an opportunity to just rest and relax and spend some time with family. Like I said, my son came home from college yesterday afternoon, so it's been fun having him around. And yeah, I think that's where we're gonna land. So thank you so very much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the like button and subscribe so you know when I have posted something new. I will have links down below in the show notes to all of the things, and they are robust. I have already prepared them. I have links to pretty much everything. So make sure you check that out. I hope that you have a very happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate, and hopefully some good family time and some good knitting time. So have a great week and happy knitting.